Hi, everybody. Stephanie Wachman, and today I'm covering the 7 ways to prepare for a difficult conversation. You see the dashboard in front of you. That's just a reminder to the dashboard that I shared with you at the last workshop to refresh your memory of what we were covering. So let's get started. One is you want to be open to having the conversation. When you're having a difficult conversation, what can happen is you rush through it, or the person that's receiving it is very uncomfortable and gets defensive. Maybe they don't have a lot of trust for what you're about to say. So if they're getting defensive, that means they're really shutting down, and they may not be hearing everything that you want to communicate to them. So create a space where you could have a very open conversation, and maybe you have more high trust by having a brain priming exercise to get started, to warm up the room, or in other words, to get that conversation going. Next, be present and in the moment. If you're not present, if you're not fully there, if you're not comfortable having the conversation, it's going to show. So how can you be more present? Can you do some deep breathing before you have the conversation? Can you calm your nervous system down and help the other person receiving that information be calm as well, so that you can be present and in the moment and be able to deal with whatever comes up, because often emotions will come up in a difficult conversation. Be prepared to ask open-ended questions. Again, this goes for the person delivering the difficult conversation and receiving it. Open-ended questions are questions that do not end with a yes or no answer. So if I say, do you understand what I'm telling you? And you say yes, that's a closed-ended question. An open-ended question would be something along the lines of, share with me what you're experiencing right now, or how did this situation get started? So that you're having more dialogue, and the more that people can communicate, the more they connect, the more that you build trust and you go into high trust. Do your research. If you're the one delivering a difficult conversation, prepare yourself by doing the research. If somebody's showing up late and you have to bring this up as a difficult conversation, get your facts in order. For the last 5 weeks, you've been showing up at least 15 minutes late for these meetings. I'm curious to know what's causing your tardiness. So that's how you would prepare, by doing some research in advance so that you have your facts in front of you and you know what you're talking about. Next, you want to listen to connect. So listening to connect means that you're listening with your eyes, your ears, your heart, your whole body. If you're asking a question, don't be ready to fill in the answers or solve the problem, but ask those open-ended questions so that you can connect with the person and understand what their perspective is. Another way of putting this is, can I put myself in your shoes while they're talking? Can I listen by putting myself in your shoes? How would I feel if I were in that situation? So listening to connect. Then listen to understand. Listening to understand means that you're asking questions, you're asking follow-up questions, and you're also mirroring. So if I understand you correctly, what I'm hearing you say is fill in the blank, right? That's listening to understand. Don't be distracted. The number one way to break trust and break connection is to get distracted by staring at your phone, having things dinging in the background, even sitting in an office that has an open window where people are walking by and looking inside. It's very distracting and it doesn't allow for a very trusting conversation. Next, we're going to talk about how to have a 10 out of 10 business or team conversation. And this will be in our next video, where I share with you how to have better conversations and understand where you are with your teams by ranking your communication on a scale of 1 to 10. So stay tuned, more to come.